you are gonna see some cool ass shit.
Yeah, you don't want two Flavor Flays.
Heart transplants, brain surgeries. I've seen it all.
Dude, that's fucking dope.
Walk up and just get it, whatever it is.
Yeah, brother.
I'm trying not to laugh, bro, but Josh is fucking killing me.
Guess what Navy SEALs do, motherfucker? They communicate and they're on the same fucking page.
Whoa.
And we're live.
Welcome, everybody, to the Happy Hoodlums podcast. It's your hosts. We got Kemper Woodruff, the Happy Hoodlum himself, and the big, the powerful, the strong, the rockin' all day long. We got Zach Sampson in the house with the gun show. So, welcome to the podcast. I guess just to start this off, you know, I've been playing this close to the chest, and I'm ready to announce it. I am officially a dad. Let's go.
Boom.
Yep. I have a baby girl named Evelyn Rose Marie Woodruff, and she is cute as can be. And so, very happy podcast this week. That's for sure. Leave last week in the motherfucking dust, son. Bought a box of Huggies today. Never felt prouder.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah. So, big things there, you know, kind of readjusting life-wise, getting acquainted with this new scenario of being a dad. And, you know, it's given me a lot to appreciate of my own journey and reflect in a different way, which I totally appreciate. But what's new in your world?
Nothing, bro. Like I'm just been working, fucking doing my thing, studying.
Nice.
Same shit, you know.
I can dig it.
So,
I can tell you, you know, one of the weird things is like the difference between running a program with like ultra focus and then hitting a stumbling block and like readjusting, because oftentimes it's like just the pressure we put on ourselves, you know, feeling that we should be farther or have more than we have. Sometimes it can bring everything that we're doing cohesively and expanding in a balanced way to this like grinding halt, you know? And it's almost like, you ever seen the movies? There's always like a like nerdy person walking around the office with a whole bunch of files and shit, and they're like on the move, they're hauling ass, and then they round the corner and bump into somebody and spill everything.
Yeah.
It's just like that, but in real life. And you know, you got all your things together and you're like, all right, I'm going over here and I know I got my mission, I'm on it. And you just midway through that, you know, process, you get kind of like blindsided and you stumble and all your shit's sprawled out. And it's like, all right, now I got to regroup all this. And if you don't do it in a scrambled way, but just kind of like, all right, I'm going to take it and readjust, the new formula that you get, like, by the time you make it to this metaphorical copy machine or whatever, you know, you end up being there and in full effect as a different version of yourself. You know, you don't got to be as anxious. You can take more time and do, I don't want to say what's menial, but like what's baseline responsibility performance-wise in your life in an exceptional, you know. And I think that whole construct revolves around accepting that you are exceptional or not believing that as a fact. You know what I mean? Because when you don't believe it, that's when you hit that like that stumbling block. Life has an interesting way of leveling you up like that. Like if you still have something that makes you feel insecure as you're going through the process, it's almost like you manifest this situation that like amplifies that. And then it's like, all right, you were feeling insecure. Now you look like a fucking nerd, you know? And then like they're like, all
Yeah.
right, now go back and you're not, you know, that weird moment somehow of getting your shit together again and accepting that like where you are is where you are, what's happened has happened. You know, you wind up coming back a new person, way stronger, way more confident because everything went kind of sideways for a moment. And I guess in my life, I was so like, you know, nervous, I guess. I don't want to say nervous, but um, just eager to find out this next route for myself and how things were going to transpire that I kind of psyched myself out, got myself off my game. And so right now I'm like readjusting my schedule, you
Yeah.
know, and trying to do things in a way where I am the evidence and the result that I'm trying to teach my daughter and someday, you know, my other children to have and to be, you know? Because I look at like my dad waking up every day. Did you ever look at your dad waking up every day and like going to work and doing some like hard shit and just their consistency and just be like floored by it the older you get?
I do now. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that's one of the things that like after my dad died, I was just like, whoa, I admired him on a whole new level because I was going through stuff trying to be like what I feel I'm destined to be, this super highly successful, you know, like entrepreneur. And I overlooked how powerful it is just to be a good, solid individual that wakes up, goes to work, keeps their character intact, doesn't fucking break because of bad habits, you know? Just keeps trudging through the ebbs and the flows of life and over the years like makes something out of themselves. And I'm like, damn, you know, I never really told my dad like you fucking made it. Like you did that shit, you know? I
Yeah.
tell him now. But that's something that I've overlooked. And now like as I look at my life, I'm like that consistency is a motherfucking superpower, bro.
Yeah. For real. It really is.
You know, like focus too, because you can be consistent without being super focused. But when you're focused and consistent, that's like where the rubber meets the road, bro. You know, like when you show up and you're already like in the zone before you even get there.
Fact.
Are you just kind of reformulating right now? Are you in that stage?
What do you
Where are
mean?
you at? You on the uptick, or have you just kind of hit a stumbling block lately? Where
I
would you
mean,
say
kind of
you're
not. I'm kind of at like a plateau. Not really stumbled or anything. Don't feel like I've gone backwards, but I feel like things definitely have like leveled out, and there's not a whole lot of progress being made.
at?
But you know, it is what it is. Eventually, I'll find the right format for shit.
I was gonna say, what do you do when you hit that plateau? Like, do you have a go-to kind of like reformulate strategy?
No, I just figured out. It's like one thing after another. Like, what different tactics work to get me to do this, right? And so, like, sometimes so like for example, right? I used to be really bad at doing laundry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so a tactic that helped me get into the groove of doing that consistently was by saying that I loved doing laundry.
So just auto suggestion.
Yeah. Just even in conversation, like I would just like if talking like someone asked me what I was doing today. I'm like, I'm doing laundry. And they're like, ugh. I'm like, I actually kind of enjoy it. Like just saying things like that helped me
Yeah.
do it more often. And so that's one thing that I've done. But it's like I'll figure out just random things, and sometimes it'll be like a random thought that'll come to my head, be like, okay, I'll try it that way. Um,
So
and so
I
it's
have a
just like
question.
trial and error. Yeah.
With you, being visually impaired, do you visualize things? Like, say when you're trying to get yourself to do it, or if you have a goal, do you actually go through it and picture yourself doing the action? And if so, do you do it third person or first person?
It's first person, so it's always like I'm gonna do this. But I also like I see it in like a mixture of images and words. So sometimes it'll be, especially if I'm talking it out to myself. It's
Mm-hmm.
usually if it's like more of uh like a thought based thing, like okay, I got to figure out a way to get myself to read more often. Well, that's a thought based thing. Now, if it's like okay, I have to do this specific task, then it's gonna be kind of imagery based. It's like okay, well, I gotta pick up this ladder and I gotta tilt it up and put it on the wall, kind of thing. And so it's a little different from thing to thing, I guess.
All right,
Yeah,
that makes sense. Case by case kind of basis. I was just
yeah.
curious if you like actually use visualization often.
I don't do it
So
intentionally. It just kind of whatever it is. It just kind of happens.
there's this meditation that I learned um, from listening to a guy talk about teachings that Neville Goddard um, had bestowed upon him during a
Yeah,
speech back in like the 70s, like late 60s, early 70s. And it's like laying down at night before you go to sleep. You set yourself in a position that you don't normally sleep in. So like I sleep on my side, so I do all this visualization stuff on my back.
yeah,
And I just lay there and breathe. And as you get that kind of floaty sensation in between consciousness and, sleeping, when you just kind of feel like your body relaxes itself and you're just kind of in this weird thought flowy realm, you know, that's when you just visualize whatever it is that you want, like to experience and do it first person. Like, so I've said this before on the podcast. Like, if you want money, like count money. Like, what does it feel like? Like, actually feel with your thumb in your mind, you know, and count money until you fall asleep. Whatever it is you want, if it's a dream home, walk into the dream home. Like, what does it look like? Open the door. Are the doors big? Are they small? Are they, wood? Are they painted? What is it?
yeah,
Stained glass? All that kind of stuff. And not only is it like fun and relaxing, but the results of it are amazing. And especially for like auto suggesting things like you're talking about, of saying, "Oh, I love to do that." It
hmm
might be something silly like doing laundry or something, but you can actually get yourself to do that, or visualize yourself waking up at a certain time or whatever it is.
yeah.
You
It's
can
pretty
just
crazy.
suggest. Yep.
The mind is a
Subconscious.
powerful tool, huh?
Oh, I said the subconscious mind is incredible.
Oh, for real.
It doesn't make any kind of like distinguishment between inside and outer world, you know?
Also creates all of our dreams. It's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, another thing that I've been kind of navigating is learning to enjoy the experience of like thinking as a child, because now, like when I see little kids, or like, and in particular, like I know how to be a little boy, I don't know how to be a little girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm just kind of observing and just like, well, would I want to experience this? Like, what would this experience be like? You
Yeah.
know? And just thinking about all the coolest things that I can do. Like, because when I was little, I loved bedtime stories. That was our thing. Like, no matter how fucked it was growing up, I knew for a fact my mom, my brother, and me were all going to go and sit in our bed at the end of the night and read bedtime stories. You know?
Yeah.
Can you hear that outside? Are there.
A little
You
bit,
hear?
but it's not bad.
All right, cool. So, anyways, we would go sit together. I remember my mom would just bring these. They were like bales of books. Like she had so many books from like. I'm surprised that the public library would allow someone to rent that many books. But I shit you not, like 60 books at least. And we would read like all of them in a week. And that's actually how I learned how to read and stuff. But that experience was just so cool to me, of
Yeah.
seeing all the pictures and like really just go into like imaginary worlds and shit. And now I'm like, all right, like, what do I want my daughter to experience? You know?
Yeah.
But I was also looking at it like, I see a lot of people that just give phones and shit to like kids. I don't think they're supposed to have. I think life is so fucking magical that you're kind of just supposed to wander around and just like look around at shit for a long time.
Yeah. I agree with
Like,
that.
especially when growing up.
Yeah.
Because also, like, people watch so many shows nowadays, and the way that like movies are written is there's constantly like people disagreeing in the scene, so that way the conflict gets resolved. So each scene has its own conflict within the overall arch of the story that keeps things going and going and going, right? But it just, the way that it makes you think, if you watch a lot of TV, because we're made to discern patterns, right? We start looking for what's wrong. And on top of that, you're getting all this like just dramatic, like kind of cheesy dialogue nowadays that's super on the nose, but outside of that, it's just bitchy feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't think that a child is supposed to ingest that much fucking bitch made ass content. Because that's like why kids have attitudes sometimes. They talk like characters in movies.
Or they
Have you ever
talk
seen
like
one?
people that they watch on YouTube. Like they
Huh?
yeah, like you see kids, you'll see like videos. And even if it's staged, it's not made known that it's staged. Um of like kids who back talk their parents and like talk shit and like treat their parents like shit, right?
Yeah.
You'll see videos like that, and because the kids are laughing and other kids in the fucking comment section are hyping up the video and shit, uh other kids probably think, well, they do think that it's okay, right? And then they start doing that to their parents, and then it starts becoming a dysfunctional household because one kid is like, I'm gonna do this because this is what everyone else is doing, and but my parents hate me because I'm doing this type shit. And then
Well,
it becomes a whole big stupid paradigm because most kids aren't watching shows as much as you'd think. They're fucking on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. They're not watching that many fucking TV shows.
damn, did you just old man phase me out of a generation? Because I grew up watching like TV shows like SpongeBob and shit. I
No, I did
still
too.
watch SpongeBob
Me
though. I
too.
think SpongeBob is a legit cartoon.
SpongeBob is a legit cartoon. It's fucking awesome. But kids aren't watching that shit nowadays as much, especially as you get to like 8 or 9, 10 years old, probably when you start getting to that age where the wonder of the world has kind of gone away. Not like completely gone, but like you're getting to that point where you're interested in things that aren't like nature and rocks and shit. You're now interested in like, I want this shiny thing or this funny thing or this thing that I think is enjoyable to look at. And not
So
only
what?
does the like these like the screen time and shit, like having something so close to your face for so long, it actually causes stigmatisms. And so that's why you see like a lot of kids who spend a lot of times in front of the screen without a balance of going outside and fucking viewing things at various distances, they end up with glasses, bad vision.
Mm, hey, bro, I can attest to that because the past 2 years, I've spent more time looking at my phone than ever in my life.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And as I was doing that, like on top of the accident, like I realized it didn't help anything. You know,
yeah,
it might have eased me in terms of like not wanting to be in my reality, that I was experiencing and just pass time. But bro, on the flip side of that, like it influenced my eyes,
yeah.
you know,
And it's
to
not
to the
like,
point where yeah, I noticed like I don't focus as closely in a just like naturally. Like I tunnel in my vision more and it's like closer
yeah.
than far
And
away.
the thing is it's not the screen itself that's doing it. It's just the fact that you're not looking at shit that's far away, right? So it's like that's why a lot of people like Andrew Huberman will say view things at various distances throughout the day, right? So go outside, fucking look at a tree that's 2 miles away, just focus on it and switch trees type shit. So when I walk, I do that. I'll look around and I'll look at things that are far away and I'll try and focus on it until my eyes kind of get tired. And then I'll look at something else that maybe be a little closer, a little easier to focus on.
Hmm.
And so that's the thing. It's like a lot of people used to think it was like the screens fucking with your eyes. It's just the fact you're not looking at shit far away. So like another like crazy example of this is like I think it was Cameron Haynes. But it was a story Joe Rogan was telling, and Cameron Haynes is like not only like a trail runner, but he's also a hunter. He spends a lot of
Yeah.
time hunting and shit. So looking at shit for a very long ways away, right? Um, and so he's got this immaculate vision. Joe Rogan tells the story that he like dropped his phone one time, picked it up, dusted it off, looked at it, wasn't cracked. But then Cameron Haynes says it's cracked. And he's like 10 feet away from it, 5 feet away from it, something like that. He's not close to the phone. He's like, there's a crack in the screen. Joe Rogan's like, no, there's fucking not. He's like, yeah, it's right there. Points at it. Joe had to like twist it to get the light to bounce off of it properly to see it, and it was like a tiny ass fucking crack. And this dude's seen it from fucking 5 feet away on his phone. And so it's like it's just kind of one of those things. It's like if you can because your eyes are also a muscle. And they're also an attachment of your brain. They're literally they're the only exposed piece of your brain.
Bro, what? You just said the craziest shit. I never thought of that in my entire life.
Your
What in
eyes,
the
yeah, your
fuck?
eyes are a piece of your brain, literally.
Zach, you're like a mad scientist sometimes, the shit that you come out with, bro.
um, but yeah, so like you just look at your fucking shit. Look at fucking if you're looking at a computer for 2 hours, get the fuck up and go look at something else.
Hold on, where did you hear that though? The whole eyes
What?
being a part of your brain, like the only exposed part of your brain.
Well, they are. They grow out of your brain during development.
I understand that, but where did was that an original thought? Like, were you just sitting there someday and just like, well, that's
Well,
weird.
no, I seen like a video of how the brain develops over time during like like the fucking baby growing
Prenatal.
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I seen that and I was like, damn, the eyes are literally part of the brain. And that was just
Okay.
kind of it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
So you
interesting to
that
think
was a
about.
pretty original thought. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What
And so
had you
it's
looking
like,
up?
what?
What had you looking up babies?
Nothing had me looking up babies. It was a video that came up that was just showing the development of a brain as a baby develops.
Oh, okay.
That's all that happened. It was just like showing how,
Algorithm,
yeah,
algorithm
it
all
was just
plugged in.
showing how the brain grows eyes, pretty much. That was it.
I can dig it.
Yeah,
This is an interesting ass thought, bro. I never really put that together.
yeah. It's
Well, you learn something new every day.
yeah. It's kind of like all babies start as girls until the developmental
What the
process.
fuck did you just say to me?
Uh-huh. All babies technically start as girls until the developmental process starts developing the male genitals. Yeah.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
Bro, you're on some shit to me. Like, that just blew the doors off.
Yeah. You want to know how twins are made?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not crazy. There's two different ways, right? The fraternal twins is when you get one sperm fertilizes an egg and it splits in half.
Yeah.
And then the uh fucking whatever the other one is where they don't look the same is where two eggs get fertilized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nothing crazy.
Like that scene in Office Space where he's like, "Hey, what would you do if you won the lottery?" And the guy's like, "Two girls, same time." You ever see that shit? Oh,
No,
it's a
I don't think so.
fantastic movie, dude. You gotta watch that shit.
I'll
Office
check
Space
it
is,
out. I'll check it
but
out.
yeah, you would actually really like that movie. I'm amazed if you haven't seen that.
Okay.
But
I might have seen it. I just don't recognize the name.
this is a piece of film history. You'd remember it because like this dude has a boss that's like a total dick, and he comes up to him. He's like, "I'm gonna need you to come into work tomorrow." Yeah, yeah, I know. And he's like, "I'm gonna need that," and he's just always coming up and leaning on his like cubicle and just like talking to him.
Yeah.
And it's just yeah, it's a funny old. I don't know if that was like early 2000s or like late 90s movie, but it was a good one. I will say another thing that's kind of interesting to me is as I'm looking at the way that parenting is now, it seems that children are getting more conformity out of parents than ever before.
What do you mean by
Um,
that?
like a child will act out and parents will kind of cater to it,
Mm,
you know? Um, and just children manipulating parents in an interesting way that I don't think has ever happened before. It just makes me kind of look at things different, you know?
yeah.
I mean, I got a baby girl, so it's a little different than how I would think to raise a baby boy. But in my in my upbringing, like I needed spankings and like physical discipline.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just so crazy because to me, I'm like, well, that's like completely out of the cards, like with a little girl. So I'm like, all right, like in terms of, and my friends have like gone at me for so long about saying that children do need some physical ramification and some kind of like discipline for certain actions.
I agree. I think well, listen. Most of the people now this is this excludes the people who are physically abused regularly by their parents. Like genuine
Yeah, of
abuse,
course.
right?
Of course.
The people who got smacked in the mouth for saying some fuck shit to their parents oftentimes don't say fuck shit to other people intentionally, right? They don't intentionally try to insult somebody unless they're really fucking trying to. Um but like in normal conversation, they're not going to be like ignorant as fuck cuz they understand where there is a line of what you say has ramifications and you could get smacked the fuck up for saying some stupid shit. I can't tell you how many times I've got backhanded by my mom's ring hand for saying something that wasn't fucking appropriate for me to be saying. Or how many times I got the fucking belt. But it only took a couple and I fucking stopped doing fuck shit. I'll tell you what. My dad had this fucking paddle. It was like a half-inch thick. Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Solid fucking wood. Had a rope on the end of it so he didn't drop it.
Mm-hmm.
And it had in Sharpie written Dad's Lawmaker.
Well, I will
And
say if
when
you
you see
drop it,
that shit, you see him reach into the fucking closet, top shelf, and pull that fucking thing down. It's like, God damn it. What the fuck, man? That only happens a couple times. And then I got the belt from my aunt like twice. And I'll tell you what, it's not the belt that sucks the most. It's hearing your cousin in the next room screaming because he's getting whacked by this belt that scares you the most. It's
like
like,
before you
yeah,
before it's your turn.
that's the punishment. Hearing other people get punished, not fun. And so I think there's only a couple
Did you
times in what?
did you get in there and be like, my cousin's a bitch?
No, because it fucking I honestly don't remember what I thought because I was so young when it happened.
Were you
But
crying though?
I probably was. I don't remember. I really don't. I remember it happening. I don't remember crying or like I don't remember the event itself. I know that it happened though. But I've only ever been like, and it's to me it was always like it was always an ego thing for me. It was never really like the pain because it's different when like especially even as a kid for me, like you get bent over the knee and you get fucking whacked, right? That
Yeah.
is like you don't know how to handle it and it's not the physical pain that bothers you unless your pain tolerance isn't very high, but it's the fucking fact that someone either just backhanded you or bent you over their knee.
Dude, I was like Rambo to the pain, but yeah, that emotional shit, I couldn't deal with the fact that like my mom was that mad at me that she just whooped my ass.
Yeah.
And my mom my mom would then see me crying and she'd have to literally like explain to me like why I fucked up. You know what I mean? So I actually understood it in
I
order for
never
me to
got
stop.
explanations. I was told to figure it
Oh,
the
bro.
fuck out pretty much.
No, dude. My mom had to like lay some shit out for me. Like, I don't want to beat your ass, but I have to. Don't make me do that. You know what I mean? Like, this is beyond the line. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh no, I'm sorry. And then I'd like try and backstep and like figure out the process. Like, all right, where did I fuck up? You
Yeah.
know? And the pain part, like, I think I had already experienced so much, like, shit, just like as a kid, that my mom's ass whooping couldn't hold a candle to my brother, or like, and my dad never really, now that I think about it, ever disciplined me super hard like
Mm.
that, and like oh, that was like an ass whooping. My dad was just hard like all the time, bro. Like
Yeah.
he would just do shit that just, I remember, I look back on it, I'm like, I can't imagine doing that as a parent, you know, and as a dad. But that was like, he he was more, he wasn't malicious, he was impatient,
Yeah.
you know? Like, and my dad hated being embarrassed. So like if you like embarrassed dad, like even as a kid, it was like not a good gig for you. And like I remember like walking through the supermarket, and it was like him and my brother would walk so fast. To this day, they always walk way faster than me. And he would just, my dad would look back, and I would be going slow, and he would like pick me up like by the back of my neck and just lift me in front of him so I wouldn't get lost.
Yeah.
But like I think about that, and I'm like, it didn't feel good
Maybe that's
ever.
why your neck is so long.
Yeah. Well, my brother was always trying to pull, because when I was little, I had like no neck. I'll have to find
Oh,
the picture. I
yeah, they
literally had
fixed
no
your shit.
neck. Yeah. Hey, I think they might have overfixed that shit, but that's
Yeah.
okay. I was big ass traps, you know. This is good on me though. You know what I'm saying? I think other people, like, their neck disappears too quick. My shit's got a little bit of real estate for these traps to come apart. But uh nah, man, just, I remember he would just pick me up, and I'm like, that must have looked so fucking crazy to other people. Cause it just felt crazy to me, and I knew like I've never seen another kid get picked up like this in my life. I'm the one kid that this happens to.
Yeah. I mean, you were either the kid that got picked up by their neck or the one that has a fucking leash. Which one
No,
would you
no,
rather have been?
my dad, my dad would get mad and growl at you,
Yeah.
like through gritted teeth. Like I remember my dad, if you got him mad enough, he'd be like, "What's so funny?" And I was like, "Oh man!" Like when that level of like energy comes to the table, you're like, "Yo, he's tripping."
Yeah.
And kids, like sometimes you don't know how to handle that, so you just giggle. You know, like you ever just get someone mad just and giggle at them. Where it's
It's
like
fucking
when,
infuriating.
yeah, when there's not really a joke, but you're just laughing and they're like defenseless to your laughter.
Well, yeah, it's like a fucking shock response. Like, most people don't, like, a lot of people respond to anger with fucking more anger or like confusion. But as a kid, it's like, I don't know how to fucking respond to like this. And it's fucking
Yeah.
weird.
And I think it's just funny. It's like the other day, the whole wiener thing, you know, calling
Yeah.
somebody a wiener. It's something that's like, it's a trap. There's no defending being called a wiener. You just gotta accept it and
Yeah,
laugh
you're just
at
like,
how,
oh, ah.
you just gotta laugh how funny it is to call somebody a wiener because it's fucking childish,
Or you're just
you
like,
know?
yeah, I'm a wiener.
Because it's a no win situation for the other guy,
Yeah, you're
you
like,
know?
I am not a wiener. Well, you sound like a wiener when you say I'm not a wiener. You just sound
Exactly.
like it.
You just sound like a fucking wiener. That's what a wiener would say. You
Yeah.
know, and it's just this like endless cycle of laughing until it becomes stale. And like as a kid, like I remember we would do that with my dad. Like we might just be having a good day and just fucking giggling for no reason. And like you giggle and then you just sense his like your radar goes up, you know, and dad's like starting to fume.
Oh
You're
yeah.
laughing, and all of a sudden it's like you guys are just laughing to see if you can make him mad, you know. And then once he gets mad, that's when it's actually funny. and there's no joke to tell him. So when he's like, "What's so funny?" You're just fucking hysterical, and he just can't take it. And it's just so funny how you can break someone down like psychologically with nothing more than just like comedic terror. It's pretty
Yeah,
fantastic. But I think we're gonna keep it a little bit short tonight, if that's okay. You got
that's cool
anything
with
else to
me. I got food on the way. That's all I gotta
add?
add. Yeah,
Ooh, baller.
yeah. Cause well, I didn't want to cook. To be honest with you, my eyes are
Yeah.
fucking killing me. So I was just like, I'm just order some food. Ordered it at the beginning of the podcast, and it's on its way. So
Ooh, it's almost
yeah,
there. We're balling
yeah.
out with the DoorDash. With the
Uber
DoorDash.
Eats. Uber Eats is
All right.
nice. Fucking Dave's Hot Chicken, bro. If you haven't had it, try it.
I still haven't had it, but I want to. And
It's
it's
so
right down the
good.
same. I know I can get it.
And there's like not hot options if you can't handle spice like me. Although,
I actually enjoy spicy things, but it depends because with fried chicken, sometimes that shit, if it's too hot, oh, I love it going down, but man, it will
oh
just
yeah,
burn.
bro.
That's just lava coming out.
Let me tell you something, dog. So, Dave's Hot Chicken has the like in their spice range. Their very top one is called the Reaper,
Hmm.
and you have to sign a waiver before you can actually get this food. And
Yeah, I believe.
I went there with one of my friends, or with a group of friends actually. It was me, Aziz, Steven, Misa, and one of Misa's friends. And we go there. Aziz gets 2 Reaper sandwiches. Not just like one, because like fuck it, why not? And then like a mild or a medium or a hot, right? Gets 2. And he
Yeah.
starts eating the first one, and he's like, this might have been a fatal mistake. And we're just watching him. I'm like, bro, get a fucking milkshake. He's like, I'm lactose intolerant. I'm like, who cares? You're suffering right now. Just get one. Get a small. And then we also went there with the intention of me trying this Reaper sandwich because I have a very like notorious low spice tolerance. And so we rip off a piece of Aziz's after I finished my sandwiches. I got fucking mild as my for my sandwiches. So I have this chunk of fucking death just waiting for me right here. It's about this big, and I'm like, all right, fuck. And I put this shit in my mouth, and it tastes really fucking good. So the taste
Hmm.
like throughout their sandwiches is pretty similar, but it's the spice that fucking is different. And as I take it, I close my eyes as I'm chewing, and as my eyes are closed, Misa fucking snags my milkshake from me. I didn't even notice because it was right in front of me. I wasn't holding on to it or anything. He
Hmm.
snags it from me, and I'm getting there, and I've been chewing. It was probably like 30 seconds into my chew, and this shit starts hitting, and it's hitting like on the bottom of my tongue, on the out like my gums, and on the inside of my teeth, on the bottom of my tongue. I'm like, oh, this is something else, and my face gets
You put
fucking red.
inside your teeth.
No, like on so there's that like there's
Oh, you're saying inner road.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, on the
you're good.
inside, like
I was just like,
inside the curve.
if your teeth are hot, I was like, that's the hottest shit on planet Earth, son.
And I was
Like,
fucking
just
red, and I'm sweating. I'm like, oh, where's my fucking milkshake? And I said, I'm gonna start fucking killing people if I don't get my fucking milkshake back. And I'm starting to point at people like, you take my fucking milkshake, you take my shit, and eventually I got it back. But I was struggling, bro, for like in like 2 minutes.
oh,
That shit was so hot, bro. It was bad. It was spicy as a motherfucker.
yeah, they had a death chip. Did you ever see the death chip that was
Yeah,
like,
I've heard of it.
yeah, bro, those are no joke. I didn't even eat one, but my because I don't need to fool around with that shit. Like there's
Yeah,
a
me
certain
neither.
I've gone up there with some Thai food before. That's
Yeah,
like like you eat it and insta hot, just
instant.
instant, dude. Like my mouth is on fire, but like my lip is like instantly. I was like, what the fuck, just shit.
That's
Just
what I
came out.
don't like.
I was hot, but yeah, I'm like having a flashback right now. What the fuck? Uh, That was the closest I ever got to the Vietnam fucking flashback was just fucking eating a
Fuck.
papaya salad and just fucking my world up. But um, I remember one of my coworkers at the dispensary. Shout out to Dylan McNerney. So young Dilly decided to go next door to Plaid, and he ate this chip. And I remember he was like, "Yeah, this ain't shit." He ate it. He wasn't tripping, dude. Like I want to say like 5 minutes later, he was like, "Okay." That like boiled my insides right now. Another 5 minutes goes by. He runs to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Five
Yeah.
minutes later, he's like, "Bro, I gotta go home." He's like, "It's not stopping. Like, there's
Oh
no
fuck.
stopping this. What's happening right now is horrible." And he was like, "I have to escape this." I was like, "Go." And thankfully, at that time, shout out to him and Mod. Okay, these are my Texans, and Courtney too. So they were up here from Texas working at the dispensary, and they both got jobs at the dispensary that I worked at. And Dylan, they were just they were all very adventurous, like nomadic people, and they came up here from Texas. And Dylan was just thugging it out, living in his van like an OG, and just enjoying the shit out of Portland. And so thankfully, him going home was like, I gotta run to the parking lot and just chill out in the van. But that was probably the best shit that he could have done. Just go smoke some weed and try and, unfuck yourself while you play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because there's no working through a certain level of like spice reaction.
Oh yeah, bro. That shit sucks. It's
Yeah.
tough.
And that's the thing for me, like, because when I was little, what changed spicy foods for me was like I was obsessed with spicy foods when I was little. But like any dumb little kid, if you dare me to do some shit and call me a bitch, bro, I'm liable to do some stupid shit. Like super willingly,
Yeah.
And I drank a whole bottle of Tabasco sauce. Like just
Yeah.
straight drank it.
We get in the podcast there and
Dude, and that changed my stomach like for life. My
oh yeah,
they had
bro.
to go and like put a scope down my throat because I got like super bad acid reflux, and they thought my appendix was gonna like explode or some shit. I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? But yeah, I started having like gastrointestinal issues at that point, and so I was like, all right, I take spice very seriously from this day forward. Another 20 years down the line, bro, I was already out of the spice game. I'm like, nah, dude, I outgrew that.
Yeah,
You guys
I'm
are
good
fucking
on that shit, bro. Fuck you.
the challenge whole thing in society is a very interesting wave, you know,
Yeah.
because just like, and it really started, I think, with the cinnamon challenge. If I'm correct, I think the cinnamon challenge is what set it off. And what a fucking horrible looking experience that was.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah, I wasn't game for it. I
I've
watched
done it.
people.
Did it many
Yeah, I was
times.
many times. You did it twice.
Probably more than that.
Did you throw up?
No, got close, but never threw up. Bro, living in a small town, you ain't got much shit to do sometimes. So you're like, fuck it, let's do the cinnamon challenge.
But like the weird thing about it was I was like, what's the upside of this?
Nothing.
Like if you're the one indestructible person that can drink fucking a big ass thing of cinnamon, like what a useless superpower.
You
You
just
know what I
get
mean?
bragging rights, but also
If
it
you
like killed cinnamon for me. I don't really even enjoy it that much.
see, I can't do that. Me and Cinnamon are tight, bro. Tight.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, man.
But that's about it, man. I'm gonna go drink my protein shake, close her out for the night, because my new goal is like, all right, reformulate my schedule so I don't slack on the gym, but go harder
Yeah.
and make my gym more efficient and make sure I stay on top of my schooling, real estate wise, because I don't ever want to be someone who becomes a parent and then is just like lazier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, fuck that, dude. I want to go harder than I've ever gone, you know?
Yeah.
And so
I'm
that's
gonna
the
keep
intention
going,
I've
bro.
set. Yeah, I gotta keep the plans moving forward, upward and onward, baby.
Yes, sir.
All right,
All right,
so
bro.
everybody out there doing big things. It's my baby Rose. I love you. Keep going. We're gonna be back next week. Tune in.
Peace.
You're